Sorry, my thumb's out of focus. Pan focus to my thumb. Yeah, that's what I said. Rack focus, yeah, shift. Shift your attitude, rack the focus. What's up guys, I'm Heath Pierce, and guess what? It's time for the Kick Power Rankings. Now let me remind you, the Kick Power Rankings are not just a list of the best teams in the world. This is a list of the teams that no one would want to be coming up against right now. But before we get to the good, let's talk about the bad and the ugly. It's time for our biggest loser, and we have to go with Atletico Madrid. Atletico are looking good in the Champions League, but their league form has been so frustrating. This weekend they lost 2-1 to Barcelona to officially end any hopes they had of battling their way back into the reckoning for the La Liga title, and now have to just refocus on getting a Champions League spot for next year at all. Goals from Rafinha and Messi put them away for their 5th league loss of the year, and the reality is, Atletico just aren't scoring enough goals in the league despite all the talent that they have. Barcelona, meanwhile, are very much in the aforementioned title race with Real Madrid, who came back from 2 goals down to Villarreal to win 3-2. Classic Real. And I know we've been talking about it a lot lately on our different shows, but it really does feel like the end of days at Atletico, which is really sad. All their eggs are in the Champions League basket to get to their 3rd final in 4 years, and will try to finally win the trophy, but question marks over Simeone, Griezmann, and the rest of their core performers means this could be it for Atletico, trying to go punch for punch with the big boys in the league for a long time. Alright, now it's time for the list of those in seriously good form. At number 10 on our Kick Power Rankings, it's Atalanta. Now you might be thinking that Kick are minority investors of the club, or giving them preferential treatment, and that's how they got on this list, but the reality is they deserve to be on our power rankings. They won 2-0 over the weekend, taking down Napoli at the San Paulo, which is one of the most intimidating atmospheres in the world. Mattia Caldara had both goals, the latter of which came when Atalanta were down a man after 20-year-old star midfielder Frank Kessie was sent off. By the way, if you don't know Kessie, get to know him. He's being linked with the biggest clubs in Europe, and he's legit, so stay up on that. Anyway, Atalanta are now unbeaten in their last 6, 4 of which were wins, and are now just 3 points out of 3rd place and that last beautiful Champions League spot. And for the record, this isn't a fluke. They went on a 10-match unbeaten run, which included 9 wins last fall, so don't be surprised to see this team qualifying for Europe. And at number 9, it's Manchester City. They didn't have a match this weekend because of the rescheduling of the Manchester Derby, but we decided to honor them nonetheless. They're sitting in a pretty decent spot in that much talked about greatest ever game in the Champions League history against Monaco. They're sitting a point out of 2nd in the league with the game in hand, and they have a chance to go through in the FA Cup against Huddersfield Town midweek. This is going to be either an epic year for Pep and the boys, or one of the near misses. Only time will tell. Coming in at number 8, it's Roma. For a hot second, we thought the likes of Napoli, Lazio, and even AC Milan could hang with Juve for a while, but now the only legitimate contender remains, and that's Roma, who took down Inter on the road 3-1 to just keep a little bit of pressure on the old lady, who looked destined for yet another Scudetto. That doesn't take anything away from how good Roma have been this campaign, and their performance against the decent Inter side speaks for itself. Nainggolan had a brace before Icardi pulled one back, and then Perotti put the game away with the penalty late on. That's 4 straight league wins for Roma, and even though they did lose in the Europa League to a very good Villarreal side last week, that didn't really matter because they smashed La Liga's best defense on the road 4-0 in the first leg. Keep an eye on Roma. They could very easily end up in Stockholm for that Europa League final come May. At number 7, it's Feyenoord. F-word, as the Ajax fans call them, took one step closer to an Eredivisie title this weekend after a 2-1 win over title challengers PSV Eindhoven. Well, they were title challengers, but after this weekend, it's over for them. Feyenoord still keep their 5-point lead at the top of the table over Ajax, and outside of playing away to Ajax at the start of April, they have an extremely fair schedule till the end of the season. So if I'm a Feyenoord fan and I've been waiting since 1999 for an Eredivisie title, I'm starting to think that this year might be the one. And that sole loss and plus 48 goal difference helps prove we definitely deserve it. At number 6, it's Monaco. Might I say that Monaco finally had to grind out a close win? They beat Guingamp 2-1 on the road with goals from Glick and Fabinho, 2 more star players who don't get all the love they deserve this season. While the scoreline was a boring one for a Monaco match, they've now scored 78 goals in 27 matches and are very much still in the Champions League tie, down 5-3, sitting on 3 away goals, a home match, and a lethal strike force. And no, we don't have anything against Manchester City, we just love watching this young Monaco team and know they could still take that tie in the Champions League. And at number 5, we'll stay in France, it's PSG. Remember, this is a power rankings, not who's higher in the league or blah 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 blah. So yes, PSG is behind Monaco in the league, but higher on our KPR because they rolled on Marseille 5-1 in their Le Classique derby and are now 3 points out of first place and are just waiting for the youthful Monaco to slip up. PSG are now unbeaten in 15 and are 90 minutes away from knocking Barcelona out of the Champions League, pending a disaster at the Camp Nou. And at number 4, it's Chelsea. The Londoners continued their pursuit of the league title with a 3-1 3-1 win over resurgent Swansea. Fabregas opened the scoring on his 300th Premier League appearance, a record for a Spaniard, by the way, and after Llorente leveled, Chelsea ran away with it through goals from Pedro and Diego Costa. One loss in the last 20 matches, 10-point lead in the table, 13 matches to go, pretty much done and dusted. And coming in at number 3, it's Manchester United. Who is this team? They're unrecognizable compared to what we saw in October, and that comes down to Mr. Jose Mourinho and the man, the myth, the legend, Zlatan. The Zlatan Mourinho effect is reaping benefits, this weekend in the form of a thrilling 3-2 League Cup triumph over Southampton to lift the EFL Cup at Wembley. Don't get me wrong, they were very fortunate and got outplayed in large stretches by a very good Southampton side that really should have put the game away multiple times. The reality is, Jose Mourinho football is rarely beautiful, but is so often effective, and what he's getting out of 35-year-old Zlatan is unreal. That makes it 2 Wembley winners for Zlatan in his first 7 months in England, and he is doing the business in the league where Manchester United haven't lost in an incredible 16 matches. Now the conversation really starts to shift to the question, can they win a treble of the League Cup, FA Cup, and Europa League? They also already have the Community Shield in the bag for the record, but seriously, with a game changer like Zlatan on the side, who wouldn't pick Manchester United in a cup tie? Get down in the comments and let me know if you think the Red Devils can really take home that treble. For number 2, we are going with Juventus. Juve managed to pick up 2 second-half goals away from home to pick up all 3 points against Empoli at the weekend and now have a 7-point lead at the top of the table. Goals from Mandzukic and Sandro sealed the 3 points, though the game was slow and sluggish for long stretches. The reason for this? Their schedule. Though Juve are 2 squads deep with talent, they still rely heavily on their big stars to contribute, sometimes 3 games in 7 or 8 days, which I don't know if you've ever experienced, but it's ridiculously hard on your body, especially with the travel. So my advice to them, with that beautiful cushion at the top of the table, rest your dudes and put all your focus on winning the Champions League. And at number 1, and this really shouldn't be a surprise, it's Bayern Munich, who look like gods among men in their 8-0 thrashing of Hamburg over the weekend. And you might be saying, 8-0, that's terrible, how could that ever happen? Well, let me take you on a trip down memory lane. These are the scores from the last 7 seasons when Hamburg had to come to Allianz Arena. 6-0, 5-0, 9-2, 3-1, 8-0, 5-0, and 8-0. And to think, Hamburg used to regularly be playing Champions League. Well, then again, so does Arsenal, and Bayern crushed them too. This also marked the 1,000th game for Carlo Ancelotti, which is an incredible accomplishment. Shit, I was proud as a player when I got to 100 games, so I can't imagine being in the game for 1,000. So guys, that is our list of the 10 hottest teams in the world right now. Hit us up in the comments and let us know what your top teams are. Follow, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys later.